Welcome to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping Orange County. With your host, Don Camber.
Hello, live from the OC Talk Radio studios at UCI's Beal Applied Innovation Center. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Don Camber with another great guest positively impacting our community. Today I welcome White Shark survivor, triathlete, fitness professional, RUN4SHARKS race director Maria Korczmaros. She started the 6th annual event that's scheduled for Saturday, October 7th at Newport Dunes as a way to raise funds for shark stewards. The organization works to protect sharks and preserve healthy ocean ecosystems. She herself survived a white shark attack in 2016. Thank you, Maria, for being on Impact OC.
Thank you, Don, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Maria, please explain how being attacked by a white shark inspired you to want to save the sharks through the organization Shark Stewards.
Well, Don, when I was recovering in the hospital, about 4 or 5 months after that, a gentleman got a hold of me wanting to know all about my incident. And his name was David McGuire. He's a professor at Berkeley. He's a marine biologist. And he wanted to know how it all occurred and what exactly happened. So I told him about my incident, how it occurred, and the circumstances of it all. And then I asked him what he did, and he said he was the director and founder of a nonprofit called Shark Stewards. So I commenced to ask him, what does Shark Stewards do? What do you, what is your thing? And he said, well, we protect sharks against the shark fin trade and overfishing. We also do marine protected areas. So being a nature person and wanting to know more, I said, well, do you need any help with that? And he said, well, we are campaigning in Vegas coming up in December, and we could do with some people to come with us and get signatures for the shark fin ban that we're trying to get passed in U.S. Congress. So my son is a diver, and he was on the beach with me. So I asked my son, Sam, would you like to go with me to Vegas and do this thing? And he said, sure. So we had made plans to go to Vegas and help David with the shark fin ban. And one of his sponsors is Lush Cosmetics. So we were going to the Lush Cosmetics store, and we were doing a little sign-in sheet and telling people about Shark Stewards and what we did.
Share with us what happened.
Yeah, so back in 2016, Memorial Day weekend, I was swimming in Corona del Mar State Beach, training for a half Ironman. I came in the afternoon. My team was there in the morning. I wasn't able to train with them, so I decided to come out with my husband and my son.
We want to point out you're a triathlete, so you were training for that.
Yes. So my goal was just to swim, do my training, and then hang out at the beach with my family. So I jumped in the water. I passed my son and his girlfriend. I said, hey, Sam, I'll be back in about 30 minutes. I'm going to swim. There's a buoy line there that's about 250 yards from shore. So I was the only one swimming out there. I just swam out to the buoy line. I started out along the buoy line, which is about 4 buoys, thinking I was going to be in the water for about 30 minutes. It was a little rough, so I didn't go to the last buoy. I just turned at buoy number 3. And on my way back, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I feel this intense pain in my whole body. So immediately I thought to myself, that's got to be a shark. There's nothing else bigger in the ocean that's going to create that much pain. And I had noticed a lifeguard boat was kind of anchored there before I left for my swim. So immediately I decided to call the lifeguard boat over, and I treaded water and called for help. And I just waved my arms in the air. I kicked like mad, hoping to get their attention. And they saw me, and they came towards me, and before I knew it, I was feeling myself plucked out of the water and putting on board a boat. And then as soon as I got on board, I felt this intense pain in my chest. And I said, you've got to check my chest. I can't breathe. And he said, no. He said, your arm is my main concern right now. I need to put a tourniquet on your arm. And as he was applying first aid or doing his thing, we started up in the boat, and I learned later we went around the jetty and into the Coast Guard area in Balboa, and that's where the EMS truck picked me up.
Were you fighting the shark, or the shark just came and bit you and took off?
Well, from what we understand, is the shark came from below It bit me twice in 5 seconds, and then it left, and it dove back under. So great white sharks, they determined later, Chris Lowe came, did some DNA on my wetsuit, measured the bite marks, and determined it was a great white shark. And their mode of operation, as I learned later, was they look up from the bottom of the ocean, and then they see their prey. They come up, they take a quick test bite, and then they dive back under, and they usually circle back around to either take another test bite or eat their prey whole. So I was the unfortunate, seal in the water, and it came up to check me out.
Now, prior to that, did you ever envision you being bitten by a shark?
Oh, never. My coach, at the time, I was training with Tri La Vie, which is a women's triathlon group out of Mission Viejo. And Martha, our coach, we would go to the ocean to do our ocean swims. We would go there to practice our wave entry. And she would say, okay, I need to talk about the dirty word. And we're thinking, oh, is it pee in the wetsuit? And she's like, no, it's shark. And we were just like, yeah, okay, Martha. Yeah, okay. Talk about sharks. Yeah, no problem. And so she'd tell us about, just like when we rode our bike, you could get a flat tire. She just wanted to make us aware that there are dangers in the ocean. So, of course, we never thought ever that would happen.
And now that it happened to you, are you fearful?
I tell people I turn my fear into fascination. I think knowledge is power. And when I met shark stewards, I started learning more about sharks and learning more about the ocean. And I'm a nature person to begin with. I grew up camping. I have a cottage. We had a cottage in Canada that we went to on a monthly basis or all year long, and spent a lot of time in there in the winter and in the summer. And we camped all the way up to Alaska and back. I know there's animals in the woods. I know there's things that are dangerous in nature. So, I never thought it would happen. I don't think it would ever happen again. But it's something that happened. So,
how soon did you go in the water after the incident?
Being me and my stubborn self, as soon as I was able to get back in, I got back in. So I didn't get back in there. My incident happened Memorial Day weekend, May 29th. So I spent 9 days in the hospital. I went to physical. I went to Canada on vacation. So in July, that within a month, I was back in a river in Canada swimming. Against my surgeon's advice, because he said, I only want you to swim in pools. He said, I don't need you getting an infection. But the pool was too far away. So I just decided to swim in the river. And then when I got home in August, I started swimming in Pirates Cove, which is next door. And there's a small little swim area, there at the bottom of Ocean Boulevard, where across from the jetty. And I started swimming there in 6-foot water in September, and I got back in the ocean for a race in October in San Diego, in Mission Bay, San Diego.
So how are you?
So I find every year I get back in. I got back into Corona Del Mar in 2019 with a bunch of other shark attack survivors. They came out to support me and to help me. And every time I go in at Corona Del Mar, I go with my team. I never swim alone anymore. And I'm always thinking about sharks when I go in the water, but I know I probably won't see one. I just make sure I'm more aware of where I am and what I'm doing. I never swim alone, like I said. And after a winter break, it's a little bit more nerve-wracking for me. And if the water's murky or if it's kind of foggy, I get a little bit of thought process going through my head. But in general, I'm able to put that aside and understand the facts over the fear, and know that it's one of those things that happens probably 3 million to 1 that it would ever happen again. I had a really good teammate. The first thing when she came to the hospital to visit me, and she said, Maria, here's the lottery ticket. And I said, why? And she goes, well, you won the lottery in a bad way, and now hopefully you'll win it in a good way.
Let's talk about the 6th annual Run for Sharks and Ocean Health Fair on Saturday, October 7th at Newport Dunes.
Yeah, so it's our 6th year. I developed that run in 2018 as a way to give back to shark stewards. I started volunteering for them. I saw the need for some fundraising for them, for their programs. They're a very small grassroots nonprofit, even though they're international. David goes to CITES every year in Florida to lobby against the shark fin trade and to lobby for protection of sharks, endangered sharks, gets them on a list. He goes to China, he goes to Singapore when that was open before COVID to do filming. And right now he's doing a film in Hawaii all about sharks and just bringing awareness to the shark fin trade and helping people pass, or governments pass, lobby efforts and for marine protected areas as well. So because he has a lot of programs going on, he needs funding. I thought it would be a great way to incorporate a passion I have for fitness with my new passion of protecting sharks. So we do it together. It's a fundraising event, a fitness event. I tell people it's the morning of ocean awareness. So we have all our shark guys come out. Chris Lowe comes out with his shark lab. We have a forest ranger who's retired. Jim Sherpa comes out with his shark memorabilia, and we have a bunch of fitness people come out, and we all combine our efforts and raise awareness.
With education, how many shark attacks are there in Southern California?
So this year we've had a few, but I think what's happening is Chris Lowe has done this study along the California coastline for the last 20 plus years, and what we're finding is the bigger sharks are coming down here to pup. We're having warmer waters from climate change. So they're pupping down here. They drop their babies. They go back north or wherever they're coming from because they travel quite far. And then the babies grow up here. And by the time they're about 10, 15 feet, they're almost at breeding age. And then they're going to kind of get out of Dodge and go find a mate. So because there's more people in the water, Southern California is a very populated area. We have a lot of tourists coming here. There's more people in the water. There's a few more sharks in the water than we're used to. So there's been a few more encounters. But in general, they don't want to eat us. It's a mistaken identity. Sometimes it's a not really a predation, but it's a competition for food. As well as mistaken identity. Like the one who bit me was an 8 to 10 footer. That's a juvenile. So it's upgrading its prey from fish and rays to seals. So from 30 feet below in my black wetsuit or with the sun shining down on you, you look exactly like a seal. So they don't have, hands to pick up their food or anything. They just have a mouth, and they have a lot of teeth in that mouth that are very big and serrated. So they come up, they bite to investigate. If they don't feel like it's food, they're not going to come back. It bit the hardest bones in my body, so it's like, oh my gosh, that wasn't a seal. I don't want to eat that, and it probably swam away. We don't know for sure because the boat did come and rev up its engine, so it has all the senses of a human. So it's going to get disoriented. It's not going to see me as well. It's not going to hear me splashing. So it's going to probably swim off and go in another direction.
Did you hear the noise of the shark biting down on you?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't see it coming or going. It was a very murky water day. I could barely see my watch in front of me. And what I did learn later when I came back to talk to lifeguards is the main lifeguard on the beach saw a fin and a splash, but he thought it was a whale because whales have come in that far. We've seen dolphins in the water there before. We've seen seals in the water, but we've never really seen a shark. And on the way to Catalina, you see sharks every now and then, but you never really see them close to shore. But that year, Chris Lowe had identified that the sharks were closer to shore. They were kind of hanging out in the wave surf line, and the surfers have seen them over the past 5 years or longer. They see them go under their boards, and they're not really worried about them because in general, they just keep going. They don't really stop.
Had you worn a regular bathing suit and not a wetsuit, do you think you would have been bitten?
They say probably it's likely I still would have been bitten just because I have done a few episodes for National Geographic, and what the scientists have determined is when the sun shines down on you, you form a silhouette. Because when you look up from the ocean, the sun is on you. So now you look just black. So whether you're wearing a wetsuit or not, you're still going to look like a silhouette. you're still going to look like a seal, so that they're still going to come out and do an investigatory bite.
You want to save the sharks.
Yeah, yeah, because they're very important to ocean health and they're very important to the ecosystem.
Do other shark survivors feel the same as you?
A lot of shark survivors do. Stephen Robles is a marathon swimmer out in Manhattan Beach, and he knows the value of sharks. Keen Weber Hayes got bit after me. He's a free diver. He's a surfer. He's now training to be a lifeguard. And he loves the ocean, and he knows sharks are in the ocean. So for him, I would say he likes sharks. There's a lot. I have a Facebook group for shark survivors, and a lot of those people on our Facebook group, they don't, they feel the same way as I do, that sharks are part of the ocean. They belong there, and it's not up to us to go around and kill them all.
So if people want to participate in the 6th annual Run for Sharks and Ocean Health Fair on Saturday, October 7th, what do they need to do?
Well, they can go to our website, www.run4sharks.org, and they can register through there. We are also on Run Sign Up, runsignup.com. You can go there. You can just Google Run for Sharks, and it should pop up. They can come and race on site. They can register on site. We do have registration open Saturday morning. Registration is going to be open at 7:30 for packet pickup and registration. So if you just want to come down Saturday morning, you can register. You can do the 1 mile or the 5K. We also have an opportunity drawing where a lot of our sponsors and booth donations and really cool stuff. Stream to Sea is one of our sponsors. They're all reef safe sunscreens and body conditioning, and SBR Sports is another great swim person that we have on board. So our packet pickup is amazing. You're going to get a shirt with a bunch of sharks on it, and you're going to be able to do some fitness and learn more.
Can children participate?
Absolutely. We tell kids, come on out. We're a partner with 100 Mile Club, which is in the schools. It's a healthy kid initiative. So kids, if you're in a 100 Mile Club, you can come out, you can get your miles, and we will assign your card, and you can take it to your teacher and add to your miles. And it's a family fun event, and we'd like to make it a nice community event. So we're going to have a dunking booth there, and you can wet your friends, and we're going to have some beanbag throwing. Maybe you can throw a shark into the beanbag. And it's kid friendly, it's dog friendly, as long as your dog is on a leash. And it's a closed course, no traffic. It's in the Back Bay area. And you can dress up in your shark suit, your dolphin suit, your seal suit, whatever you want. And we're just there to have fun and to raise awareness and to raise some funds for shark stewards.
Have you been in the ocean again and seen a shark near you? And if so, how did it feel?
I have not. Well, I've seen little ones. I shouldn't say I have not seen a shark. I scuba dive now. So my son was on the beach. He was a diver at the time. And he said to me, at 16-year-old with a lot of wisdom, he said, Mom, you're prey on top of the water. You're part of the environment underneath. You should become a diver, a scuba diver. So I went and got my certification in 2019. And so I have gone diving. I've seen leopard sharks. I've seen smaller sharks. They don't scare me. They're bottom feeders. Sharks are at every level of the ocean. I did go to Hawaii last June and did a race out there. They have tiger sharks there. I did go diving there, but I did make the instructor aware that if I saw a tiger shark, I'd probably be shooting to the surface of the ocean. And at 60 feet, that's not recommended. So I just stayed close to him and I said, listen, if I see a tiger shark, I'm going to be hiding behind you.
So it's just a reaction you'd have.
Yes, absolutely. And being with Shark Stewards, one of the things Shark Stewards does is they want to highlight how to deal with a shark if you see one in the water. And Chris Lowe does the same thing with the shark shacks on the beach. And basically, I think if I saw a shark, number one, a bigger shark like a great white or a tiger shark or bull shark, the top 4 or 5 that are more likely to bite a human, I would definitely keep my eyes on it the whole time. I would back away slowly and get out of the water as quick as I could because they are aggressive and they are the top predator. A smaller shark, I wouldn't really worry about. A nurse shark, I wouldn't worry about. They're calm. They're not going to really bother you. But any shark in general, I mean, nature is nature. You don't want to be touching nature. You don't want to be going up and getting a bear angry. So don't do it with a shark.
What else should you do? You said back away. Is there anything else?
Back away slowly, get out of the water as quick as you can. If it comes towards you, put something in front of you. If you don't have anything, poke it, hit it on the nose, poke it in the eye. That's their most sensitive spot. A shark, every shark has what's called a ambuli of Lorenzini. And if David's listening right now, I hope I said that properly. So that's like little freckles on your nose, and it's an electrical, it's a little organ that detects electrical impulses in the water. So a shark has all the senses of a human, but it has a special sense called the ambuli of Lorenzini, and that's the guy who discovered it, and it can detect vibrations in the water. So every heartbeat, every splash, every movement in the water, a shark can detect. So you should try and keep your heart rate down, but for me, that's going to be hard to do because I already have been bit by a shark. But your heart gives up the highest impulse in your body, highest electrical impulse. So keeping your heart rate down is important, but trying to not splash as much, trying to be a little bit slower as you back away. You do want to keep your eye on it. It's like a dog. If a dog is chasing you, you're not supposed to run. You're supposed to turn around and yell at the dog, kick it, or do something to act like a predator. So don't be the prey, be the predator. So that's why you turn around, you face it, you punch it, you kick it, you poke it in the eye. If you have a stick or a camera, have that out in front of you, because if you're acting like a predator, they're less likely to chase you, they're less likely to do something. They're going to turn away, they're going to go the other way. You're not an easy meal.
What are some of the misunderstandings people have about sharks?
Well, they think that sharks are like going to be after you, right? They think they're going to be targeting you. Sharks would prefer to eat a fish. They'd prefer to eat a seal. They like squishy things. They like stuff with lots of blubber. They eat the dead, the decayed, and the dying. So we hear whales that are coming into shore. If a whale is coming into shore and you see a dead whale, definitely stay away from the whale, because chances are a shark's going to come around and eat that whale. Okay, that's why our lifeguards, all those people that protect us in the ocean, they will take a dead carcass, tow it out into the ocean 5 miles, and they'll let the sharks do their thing, or any other predator do their thing. It's not only sharks that are going to eat that whale. The shark will start eating it, and then all those little pieces will trickle down the ocean to the ocean floor. The fish will eat it, whatever, right? So you're not their preferred source of food. Okay, so if you don't look like a seal, chances are you're not going to be eaten by a shark. You're not going to encounter a shark. So number one, don't look like a seal. Don't act like a seal. Don't swim with seals. Don't swim with anything that's going to, maybe a shark might want to eat, like a school of fish or something. If you see a bunch of seagulls, you know, in the ocean and they're coming down and you see a bunch of fish, don't go and swim there, because chances are there could be a shark there. The other misconception is that there's a lot of them out there and that we should be fearful for our lives every time we go in the ocean. Well, that's not true either. I mean, they're at every level of the ocean, but a great white shark, a bull shark, a tiger shark, they have territories. They swim 5,000 miles. They can swim 5,000 miles in a day. So they're always traveling back and forth. They may stay around a reef area, but then get to know where the sharks are. Right? I mean, if you want to go see one, you can see one. But if you don't want to see one, find out where they live, where they're congregating, and just don't go over there. Or if you're going to be in an area where there are going to be sharks, just be cautious. The other misconception is sharks kill people, like a lot of people, all the time. The average, the deaths of sharks compared to maybe a car accident or a heart attack is so limited. It's like 11 million to 1 that you're going to die from a shark attack. More people die of a toaster in your bathtub or a fridge falling on you or a car accident than being bit by a shark. What was the other one I had? Was
What about wearing a wetsuit?
wearing a wetsuit. Yeah. I mean, yes, you might look more like a seal in a wetsuit because it's dark and it's black. But in a bathing suit, like I said, with the sun shining down on you, you're still a silhouette. Maybe your chances are less, but I don't think they've really had the science on that. So it's not, I don't think, relevant. The other misconception, I was actually reading about those. I have it here. I had it in my notes. Sorry. Oh, here it is. That they have to keep swimming to survive. Okay, so a lot of people think sharks have to always be swimming to survive because the water going over their gills and stuff. But smaller sharks like leopard sharks, nurse sharks, they sit on the bottom of the ocean. They just kind of hang out there. Guitar sharks do the same thing because they're bottom feeders. They're waiting for their food maybe to come over to them, or they're just resting because they're tired. So they may not move all the time. So you're not going to be encountering a shark all the time because it could be hiding under a rock. They could be sleeping on the bottom of the ocean. They may not be around you. So the ones that move more are the bigger sharks that are going to be looking for food, that need more calories, so they need more food. So they're going to be looking around a bit more. They're going to be moving a bit more. But even those sharks, they can stop and kind of hang out for a little bit. And, that's about it.
Thank you, white shark survivor, triathlete, fitness professional, and Run for Sharks race director, Maria Corksmaros, for being on Impact OC. And I thank everyone for tuning in. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Dawn Camber. Have an impactful day.
You've been listening to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping our community. Right here on Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio.